So get this. We are going deep on AI today. You
Oh,
guys send in some seriously interesting stuff. And it feels like AI is just, it's everywhere you look now. But, you know, what's really going on beneath the surface?
you know what I find so fascinating? We're way past AI just being like a sci-fi thing.
Right.
It's woven into our lives. Like, think about it. Netflix recommendations.
Oh, for sure.
Even, well, potentially war.
Yeah. That's actually a perfect segue because one of the sources you sent, it talked about killer robots and how countries are racing to develop these autonomous weapon systems. And it's like, it sounds like a movie, but it's actually happening.
It really makes you think, ethically, can we really program a machine to understand human morality,
Right.
let alone like the complexities of international humanitarian law in war?
Like,
And even if we could, wouldn't having these autonomous weapons, I mean, wouldn't that just make the world a much more dangerous place?
it's a scary thought for sure. Some people argue that these weapons are, they're necessary for national defense. That if we fall behind in this AI arms race, it could be really bad.
Yeah.
But then you have others who are saying, like, we're basically handing over life and death decisions to algorithms that might not be able to handle that responsibility. It's kind of like we're walking a tightrope,
Yeah.
right? Trying to balance this incredible progress with, very real danger.
And that's where you see groups like the Campaign to Stop Killer Robots coming in. They're really pushing for these international treaties to completely ban autonomous weapons. But it's, getting every single country to agree, that's a huge challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Some countries see this technology as like super important strategically, so a total ban anytime soon seems pretty unlikely.
We're kind of stuck in this ethical and strategic mess. It makes you wonder, is there a compromise somewhere? Like some kind of global agreement, maybe,
Yeah.
on how AI can be used in war, some limitations?
Yeah. It's really complicated, no easy answers. And this whole debate, it goes way beyond the battlefield, too. it's shaking things up in the workforce big time. One of the sources you sent, it said AI could automate, get this, up to 40% of jobs globally. That's a lot.
That's a mind-blowing number. It makes you wonder, I mean, will this lead to just massive unemployment, or will it actually create these, like, totally new jobs we can't even imagine yet?
That's the big question, isn't it? I mean, if you look back, history shows us that, these big leaps in technology, yeah, they disrupt things, but they usually lead to new opportunities. Think about the Industrial Revolution, right? It pushed out tons of farm workers, but then all these new industries popped up, created different kinds of jobs.
So you're saying we shouldn't freak out about AI's impact on jobs?
I wouldn't say that exactly. The key is adapting, being ready. We have to focus on, like, upskilling and retraining people. So workers have the skills they need to do well in an economy that's driven by AI. There are already tons of jobs out there for things like AI trainers, data analysts, even AI ethics specialists.
That makes sense. But what about the people who are left behind in this shift? What happens to those whose jobs just disappear because of AI?
Well, that's where some people are talking about a pretty radical solution, universal basic income. UBI.
Okay. So what is universal basic income exactly?
Imagine every citizen, no matter what, gets a guaranteed income, working or not. It's like a safety net. So anyone who loses their job to automation, they have this cushion. They can go back to school, start a business, maybe even pursue like creative stuff without worrying about, being broke.
That's an interesting idea. But, a lot of questions come up too. How would we even pay for something like that? What would it do to people's motivation to work? And, what about the economy as a whole?
Right. It's a really complex idea, lots of unknowns, and this whole debate about whether it would work, what the consequences might be, it's probably going to go on for years, but it's a conversation we need to have, especially with AI potentially causing so much change in the economy. While we're thinking about these big changes, we have to remember AI, it's not like this one thing. It learns from what we teach it. And that brings us to another really important part of, what we're looking at here, AI bias.
It's kind of like AI is holding up a mirror, isn't it?
Yeah.
Showing us our own biases, like as a society. And those biases, they can sneak into these systems so easily. I mean, even if we don't mean for them to.
Exactly. AI systems, they're only as good as the information they learn from. If it already has biases baked in, well, the AI is going to pick those up too. I mean, we've already seen how that can play out.
Like with those facial recognition systems that,
Right.
they misidentify people of color more often,
Mhm.
or those hiring algorithms that like unfairly pick men over women.
Exactly. And it goes even deeper than that. Think about loan applications or even like medical diagnoses. If those AI systems, if they're learning from biased data, they could make things even more unfair.
It's a scary thought.
Uh,
So how do we fix that? Can we even make AI that's totally unbiased?
it's a tough one. But there are some things that look promising. One big thing is to make sure that the data we use to train AI, that it represents everyone fairly.
So basically, we need more inclusive data so the AI can make more fair decisions.
That's a big part of it. But it's not just the data itself. We also need to create algorithms that can actually spot and fix bias.
Okay.
And probably most important, we need to be really open about how AI is being developed, like total transparency and accountability.
Yeah, transparency, that's huge.
Yeah.
People need to be able to understand how AI is making these decisions that affect their lives, especially when those decisions are, life-changing.
And that leads us to this idea of explainable AI. You mentioned it in your research.
Oh, yeah. XAI. I've heard the term, but I'm not going to lie, I don't totally get it.
Yeah.
Can you break that down for me?
Sure. So imagine this. Instead of just getting an answer from AI like, loan approved or loan denied, you also get an explanation.
Okay.
Like, why did the AI decide that? What did it look at? How important were those different factors? That's explainable AI. It's
Yeah.
like we're pulling back the curtain
Oh, okay.
so we can see how the AI made the decision.
Gotcha. It's like we can peek inside the AI's brain.
Exactly. And by being transparent like that, not only can we spot and fix biases, it also helps people trust AI more. If we understand how a decision was made, we're more likely to be okay with it, even if, we don't always love the outcome.
And I bet that trust thing is super important in areas like healthcare because the stakes are so high. We talked about AI in healthcare a little bit earlier, but it's such a big topic.
It really is. AI in healthcare, it has so much potential to diagnose diseases earlier, more accurately, personalize treatments, maybe even develop new drugs way faster. But there are some real worries that come with it.
Totally. Like, can we really trust AI with our medical data, our health information? That's really personal stuff. And what happens if an AI system misdiagnoses someone or causes a medical error? And who's responsible when AI is making these decisions that could mean life or death? Is it the doctor, the programmer, the company that made the AI? These aren't what if questions. They're real problems.
You're absolutely right. One of the sources you sent in, this report from a bioethics group, they're really worried about this stuff. They're saying the rules we have now, like the laws and ethical guidelines, they weren't written for AI in healthcare. We need clearer rules, better safeguards. And we have to really think about who's responsible when things go wrong with AI in medicine.
It's like the game has changed, and we need a whole new rule book.
Exactly. And, these are the same things we have to think about in other areas where AI is being used, like how AI could make wars more dangerous.
Right. We were talking about killer robots before. If we're already struggling with who's responsible for AI in healthcare, how are we ever going to figure it out for AI weapons? Those things could cause so much destruction.
It's definitely a huge challenge. Imagine an autonomous drone malfunctions and it hurts civilians. Who's to blame? These questions have huge consequences, and we need to figure out the answers now.
It's a lot to think about. All this talk about killer robots, AI bias, it makes you wonder, are we opening up this Pandora's box that we can't close?
I get why you'd feel that way. But remember, AI itself, it's just a tool. It can be used for good or bad. It really depends on us. It's up to us to make sure AI is used to help people, not hurt them.
I like that. It's easy to get caught up in the scary stuff. But we can't let that stop us from doing anything. We have to be proactive. We have to be part of shaping the future of AI. We have to make sure it's a future where, where progress and human values, they both matter.
I totally agree. And that's why talking about all of this, it's so important. By being open about the challenges, looking at solutions, and getting different perspectives, that's how we're going to figure out how to develop and use AI in a way that makes sense for everyone.
It feels like we've been going back and forth this whole time between being excited about AI and being worried about it. But with all these potential problems, are there any bright spots? Can AI actually, make the world a better place?
Oh, absolutely. And that's something really important to keep in mind. It's easy to get caught up in all the doom and gloom. But, amidst all the worry, AI also has this incredible potential to actually solve some of the biggest problems we face.
Okay, so what does that hopeful future look like? What are some areas where AI could really, do some good?
Well, healthcare comes to mind right away. AI is already helping us develop new treatments for diseases that, we've been fighting forever. And it can help us use energy more efficiently, which is huge with climate change being such a big deal. It can even predict and prevent natural disasters, which could save so many lives.
Wow. That's amazing. With all this talk about killer robots, it's easy to forget that AI could actually be used to, like, heal and protect people.
Exactly. And speaking of climate change, AI could be a total game changer in how we fight it.
Really? How so?
Okay, imagine this. AI systems that can, like, analyze tons of environmental data, way more than humans could ever handle. They can spot patterns and trends that we might miss and give us information that helps us make better decisions about, protecting the environment and using resources sustainably.
Okay.
AI could change how we do everything, from keeping an eye on deforestation to tracking carbon emissions, even coming up with new clean energy technologies.
That's pretty cool. It's like having a super smart partner helping us save the planet.
It really is a powerful partnership. But to make it work, we have to make sure AI is developed and used ethically and responsibly.
Yeah, that makes sense. So where do we even start with that?
Education. That's the most important thing. We need to prepare future generations. Give them the knowledge and skills to live in a world where AI is everywhere. They need to be the ones who make sure we use this technology wisely.
So it's not just about teaching them to code, it's also about, like, critical thinking skills, ethical awareness.
Exactly. We need to teach them the technical stuff about AI, but also how it affects society, the good and the bad, and why it's so important to use it in a way that, matches our values as humans.
That's like we need to raise a whole generation of, like, AI experts who are also good citizens, who can make good decisions about AI, hold the people in charge accountable, and make sure AI is used to help people, not hurt them.
You got it. And it's not just about the younger generation. We need everyone to understand AI. I'm talking policymakers, business leaders, regular people. Everyone needs to be part of the conversation about AI's future.
I love that. It makes me think about something we've been talking about this whole time, how important it is for everyone to work together, not just between countries, to figure out, like, global rules for AI, but also between the tech people and the ethics people to make sure AI is developed responsibly, and even between humans and machines to really make the most of what AI can do.
Collaboration is key because AI, at its core, it's not something to be afraid of or something to control. It's a tool. We can shape it, we can direct it, and we can make sure it's used for good.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
I feel like we've gone on this crazy journey, talk about all the worries and all the possibilities of AI. So before we wrap up, what are some things our listeners should remember? What should they be thinking about as they, go out into this world where AI is everywhere?
The most important thing is to stay informed. Read about AI, keep up with what's happening, talk to people about it, be curious, ask questions. That's how we're going to make sense of all this.
Okay, stay informed, be curious. What else?
Don't be afraid to demand transparency. Ask questions about how AI is being used, how decisions are being made, what's being done to make sure AI is fair and safe. We need to hold the people in charge accountable, make sure they're developing and using AI in a way that's good for everyone.
And don't be afraid to speak up. Support the groups that are fighting for ethical AI. Push for laws that protect people. Be part of shaping the future of AI. Make sure it's a future where AI works for us, not the other way around.
You got it. We're all creating the future of AI together. And if we stay aware, if we think critically, and if we stick to our values, we can make AI a force for good in the world.
Those are some great words to remember as we, keep exploring this amazing world of AI. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive. I hope we've made you curious, made you think about things in a new way, and maybe even given you some hope about the future.
Thanks for having me. It's been great. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep shaping the future of AI.